स्टडी IQ IAS, अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल।
Welcome to StudyIQ's initiative, the podcast. I am your host, Dipansh Moorjani. So tighten your belts because it is time for the podcast of the day. In the last episode, we discussed all the provisions related to 7th schedule of our constitution. So all our new listeners can listen to our previous episode not only on YouTube but also on various audio streaming platforms like Spotify, Hubhopper, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, etc. In today's episode of the podcast, we are going to discuss all the provisions of 5th and 6th schedule of our constitution. Sir, first things first, can you give us some important information which is related to 5th and 6th schedule?
As you have already mentioned about 5th and 6th schedule, the basic thrust of 5th and 6th schedule in the Indian Constitution is the reason where the protection of cultural distinctiveness of tribal population is to be upheld. Both provides protection of the tribals on account of their economic disadvantages so that they could maintain their tribal identity without any coercion or exploitation of any means. Now, particularly if we will see the 5th schedule, it interests in the scheduled tribe which are outside the northeast areas. The 5th schedule designates scheduled areas in large part of India in which the interest of the scheduled tribes are to be protected. The scheduled areas has more than 50% tribal population. However, in the 6th schedule, which is related to the administration of northeastern states, the states of Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram in the northeast, it has provisions for the formation of autonomous districts and autonomous regions within the districts as there are different scheduled tribes within the districts.
Sir, can you throw some light on provisions which are mentioned under Schedule 5 of our Constitution?
The 5th schedule being a very important provision of the Constitution which deals with the control and administration of scheduled areas. Some of the important features of 5th schedule are: it deals with the provision of setting up of Tribal Advisory Council. The governor has the power to adopt laws passed by parliament and state legislature in such a way that it suits these areas. It also provides governor with the power to make regulation for good governance and peace for the area. 5th schedule also deals with the extension of direction by the union to a state for the administration of scheduled areas. The schedule is aimed towards making the state responsible towards the promotion of educational as well as economic interest of tribals. It also aims to provide social justice to tribals and prevent them from exploitation of any form. The central government also provides special financial assistance to the states under Article 275 for the implementation of various schemes that would lead to the upliftment of scheduled areas at large.
Sir, as you had mentioned that Tribes Advisory Council plays a crucial role for upliftment of scheduled tribes. So, we are eager to understand the provisions which are related to Tribes Advisory Council.
The 5th schedule provides the provision of a Tribes Advisory Council. It deals with the provisions of establishment of Tribes Advisory Council, which is consisted of the members not more than 20 members. 3/4 of its representatives in this Tribal Advisory Council would consist of scheduled tribe members which are representing them into the state assembly. In case if the state legislature's tribal numbers are less, then these numbers will be filled by the other members of the tribe. The 5th schedule also provides the establishment of Tribes Advisory Council in states which have scheduled tribe population. However, they do not have a scheduled area. If the President so directs for the formation of Tribes Advisory Council in those regions. Tribes Advisory Council also advises on matters related to the welfare and advancement of scheduled tribes in the state, which are referred to the council by the governor. Since Tribes Advisory Council is formed by the provision of 5th schedule, it has the status of constitutional body. The governor has the power to make rules prescribing or regulating the number of members of council. Even governor have a discretion in the mode of their appointment, and governor also appoints the chairman of the council.
Sir, can you throw some light on powers of governor under 5th schedule of our constitution?
Governor enjoys the power to modify, annul, or limit the application of any law made by parliament or state legislature, even that matter, in these areas which are designated as scheduled areas. The governor has the power to make regulation for peace and good governance of any area in the state which is a scheduled area. Those regulations include prohibiting or restricting the transfer of land by or within members of the scheduled tribes. The governor can also make such regulations only after consultation with the Tribes Advisory Council of the state.
Sir, with respect to scheduled areas, what are the powers of President?
Scheduled areas are those areas which are basically notified by President himself with the scheduled area tag under 5th schedule of our constitution. The President has the power to direct that the whole or any part of the scheduled area has ceased to be scheduled area. President also alter the areas of scheduled area. He can basically increase the area of the district, or he can also reduce the area. But this step of President is to be held after the consultation with the governor of that state. The regulation made by governor come into effect only when the President accepts it, and governor is required to submit annually the reports regarding administration of the scheduled areas to the President.
Sir, if a situation arises where we have to amend 5th schedule of our constitution, then what are the provisions related to it?
Parliament through a law can amend any of the provisions of scheduled area or 5th schedule by the way of addition, variation or repeal. However, students need to remember this, that any such law is not deemed to be an amendment considered under Article 368 of the Constitution.
Sir, after understanding all the provisions of Schedule 5 of our Constitution, now we are eager to understand provisions related to Schedule 6 and how 6th schedule of our Constitution is different from 5th schedule.
The 6th schedule is different from the 5th schedule as it deals with the details of the mechanism and institutions essential for governance of the autonomous districts in the states of Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram. These autonomous districts are directly administered by the governor. The 6th schedule deals with the constitution, powers and functions of district councils and regional councils in these autonomous districts. These councils enjoy legislative powers on specific subjects and are also allotted certain sources of taxation. These councils also have the powers to set up and administer their system of justice and maintain administrative and welfare services in respect of land, revenue, forest, education, public health, etc. The autonomous districts are the mechanism to safeguard the traditional heritage of the tribals, their customary practices and usage, and also maintaining economic security for the tribals. This is achieved by conferring on them executive, legislative, as well as judicial powers, along with the development and financial powers and functions. The 6th schedule envisaged the powers of the autonomous district councils within the autonomous area. This will allow them to make laws of the land, management of the forest except the reserve forest, regulations on trade by persons not being local scheduled tribes, and even these councils have say in appointment of traditional chiefs and headmen, and in the matters of inheritance of property, marriage, divorce, social customs, etc., will be considered as the powers and jurisdiction of autonomous district council.
Sir, what are the powers that a governor of the state can exercise in terms of Schedule 6?
The governor, under the provision of the 6th schedule of Constitution, is empowered to determine areas under the administration of the council. In this context, governor has the authority to form new autonomous districts. Governor can increase or reduce the area of any autonomous district or district councils. Governor also empowered to unite two or more districts or its parts to carve out one autonomous district from it. The governor also defines the boundaries, or he can also alter the name of the autonomous district. However, it should be noted that such changes can only be brought into the composition of the territory of autonomous district council by the governor after the consultation of any appointed commission for that purpose. And we have seen that there has been some differences observed in designation of administrative areas of the district councils from one place to another. What does it mean? Let's try to understand with an example. In some states like Assam and Meghalaya, the district councils has been constituted at the district level only. However, in Mizoram, it exists both at the district as well as subdivisional level. Finally, I want students to always remember that the Indian Constitution makes provisions for every stage for tribal upliftment, whether it has the policy of Panchashil in tribals or the upliftment of tribals by giving them special statuses. And this 5th and 6th schedule are the manifestation of Indian government and the vision of India, that to maintain the cultural distinctiveness of every individual and community as a whole. These 5th and 6th schedules are very good examples of diversity and unity at same place.
Sir, thank you for giving us the information. Dear listeners, it is time to sign out from this episode of the podcast. In the next episode, we will be back with another topic. Till then, stay connected with StudyIQ and keep studying. You can listen to StudyIQ Presents the podcast on various audio streaming platforms like Spotify, Hubhopper, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, etc. Links are pinned in the comment section below. Thank you.